Yes. So question is, what is the difference between while loop and for loop? Why these are required during coding? Why while loop is when while loop is preferable than for loop? That is the question.
Sir, in while loop, we don't need any other variable to store the value.
What do you mean by that? Not clear.
In case of for loop, we are writing for I in numbers. Well, numbers are denoted a list or any string. Then we are printing the value.
Okay.
Like sum is equal to 0, numbers is equal to a list. For I in numbers, sum is equal to sum plus I, then print sum. But here it is a condition.
Right.
A is equal to 10. If A is less than 20, then A is equal to A plus 1. When I add one value to A,
Okay.
then we don't need any other variable to store the value of.
Okay. That is one point you are trying to make. And what are the other reasons in practical use when you will use while loop, not for loop? So that is the technical part. You are saying that you don't need to add any more variable. It is okay. But what is the practical purpose? Yes, Moniz, you want to say something? I can't hear. Okay, let's see the syntax of while loop and then we will discuss that answer. So it is shared already that while statement, how it is look like, that while there is a test condition, okay, after that colon, some code statements will be there. And sometimes we can use else with while loop. So it is another part, but while loop, if you just do this, it will run while you are checking some condition and the code statement. Okay, so let's take on an example that we are saying that a variable which stores the value 10, okay, a random variable we are taking. Now we are checking while we are checking a condition, that is the test is a less than 20. After colon, we are writing a equal to a plus 1 and then printing the value of a comma a. Now think about, it is a loop because the code statements are looped through over and over again until the condition is no longer met. That means it will check that whether this a value is less than 20 first. So first time it is already taken 10, right? The value is taken as 10. So 10 less than 20. If it is true, so then it will go to the next line. It will perform the action. So now what will be that value? A is reassigned by a plus 1. So now a is what? 10 plus 1, isn't it? So if I print that value, what it will print? It will print 11 first time. Then again, it will go back to this while loop and it will check that whether 11 now less than 20 or not. If true, it will go to the next line. Now again, a will be incremented by 1. So 11 plus 1, which will be stored in this a variable. Okay. So now it will be 12 and it will print 12. So ultimately, how far this loop will run? You can calculate and you can tell me. So it will print 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 or what? You can take a pen and paper, you can calculate and you can tell me, anyone.
Yes, sir, till 20.
So everybody is saying that it will print till 20. You can calculate, just simple calculation. One step at a time. Okay, so let's run. It's printing till 20, right? Because after that, when it will go back to this loop and it will check that 20 less than 20, but that is not true. 20 is not less than 20, and that's why it will not go into the loop portion. And if you want to print anything else, if you don't want to print the value of a, then you can add one more condition, that else you can write anything. Okay, so that is the else statement. Another example you take here, x equal to 0. Now it is taking while x less than 10, print x is currently x, and next line you are printing x is still less than 10, adding 1 to x. Then you are adding up. Okay, earlier you are just increasing the value and then print. Now you are doing the reverse. You are printing something and then you are increasing your counter. Okay, so in that case, what will be the output?
Sir,
Yes.
in the above case, here the value is a less than 20. So why it print up to 20? I mean 20 is not less than 20.
Yes, that is coming from the previous loop. When it is 19, it is true, and it is increasing one value, one step. So 19 plus 120, and that is printed at the end. Okay, it is coming from the previous step. So you start with 10, then write accordingly in your copy. So then you will understand. So you are taking, you are starting with the check from 10, right? And when it is 19, so already it will go to this loop and print that 19 plus 120 value. All right, it is not checking for 20. It is checking from 19 and that value is printed.
Sir,
Yes.
can we use this example that a is equal to 6? Please, can you do it as an example for us?
So a equal to 6 you are taking here.
Yes, sir.
Now you want to check, right? Is it your question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can do. You can check what will happen. So exactly same thing. It will start from 7 till 20. Okay.
Okay.
You can even take 19 also. Then also you will get one value, that is 20 only. Is it clear now?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Next, when we are printing something after the checking and then increasing the counter, so what will happen? So obviously, if it is true, this print statement will do its job, right? And then it will increase the counter one by one, and again it will check. So it will start from 0, checking from 0. 0 is less than 10. Yes, it is true. So it will print this. Then it will increase the value of 0 by 1. So now it will check 1 is less than 10. If it is true, it will print this thing, right? So by this way, it will go on and go on. When it is false, so then it will not print this statement. That's all. So let's run. Now you are checking that from starting from 0. So it is printing yes, x is currently 0, and it is printing this statement also, because all these things are under while loop. You need to focus on this space, okay, indentation. Until and unless the indentation is break, so that means all these things are under a common loop, okay, till this 3 lines are under common while loop. Now it is printing, here is a space, that's why it is taking one space over here, okay, nothing else. Now x is still less than 10, adding 1 to x. Now next loop, now the value is 0 plus 1, 1. So it is checking that whether 1 is less than 10. Yes, it is true. So it is printing x is currently 1 and x is still less than 10, adding 1 to x. Right. So this is the way how while loop is going on. Now when it will reach 9, so then what will happen? 9 plus 1, 10. Now again, when it will try to check that whether 10 is less than 10, it is not true. So it will not go into the while loop statement. So it is not printing. You can see that. So it is printing x is currently 9 and x is still less than 10, adding 1 to x, and after that nothing is there. Okay, it will stop here. Is it okay? You can check with another variable also, another value also. Suppose you are taking 7. So you can check this, that 7, 8, 9 only print. But if you take 11, what will happen? Now let's run. Nothing will be printed, isn't it? Because it is false. So it will not enter into this block. And you have not printed anything that if it is not showing some output, you have not printed anything. So that's why it is not anything printed over here. So for that purpose, you can use else. Okay, next we will see that. Now suppose you are taking this same statement, and now you have added one more line, that is outside the block, outside the while block. You are using else statement, and the statement is print all done. Now if you check that, what will happen? Exactly same thing will be happening till 9, and then it is printing from else loop, else statement, that all done. Okay. Now if you by mistake, if you are checking 11 or 12 or so more than 10, what will happen? It is printing from else statements that all done. So you can check that your code is running, your while loop is running, and that's why the else statement is coming as all done. Okay. Is it clear? The use of while loop and else statement simultaneously. Is it okay? Now I think you can do one small assignment, that display your name 5 times using positive and negative counter. So first you do this positive counter. So these are the positive counter when you are increasing this value. So this is the positive counter, and when you need to decrease the counter, so that will be a negative counter. So first you test for positive counter, and let me know what I should write to display your name 5 times. Okay, in 5 different lines your name will be printed using while loop. So what you will write? Very easy. The code is already there. So you need to just write the syntax. Anyone tell me? I will type.
Sir, a equal to 0
A equal to 0
while a less than 5.
while a less than 5
Colon
colon
print
print
my
my
name
name.
is.
Okay, my name. That's all, because that is your name. So
Then
now,
after that, then sir, space and then the name.
no, I am telling you that print your name. So that is your name,
Okay,
my
sir.
name. Okay. So will it
Okay,
run?
sir. Then after that, next line will be a plus is equal to 1.
A plus equal to 1. Right.
Hmm.
So we run this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times is printed that your name. Okay. I think it is clear to everyone. While loop is very easy.
Yes, sir.
Now we will look what will be the difference between this while loop and for loop, or similarities, or the practical purpose why while loop is required. So that is the question. That was the question. Okay. So one thing was negative counter. Okay. So then we need to start from the number of times your name should be printed. So you need to assign the variable as x equal to 5, and then you need to reverse the thing. That means x greater than equal to 1, print name, and x minus equal to 1. So every time it will decrease the value from 5, and you will get the same output. Okay. So this is known as negative counter. So this is for positive counter, and this is for negative counter. Same thing. The output is same, but the logic is different. All right. So before break continue past, let us start the similarity and dissimilarity of this for loop and while loop. Okay. So for this you need to do the continue and break first. Okay. Anyway, so see, for loop defines the number or counter number, means how long this loop will continue. Okay. You are already assigned something that for I in some list or some string. So that means you are fixing the index position, right? That how long that string is, or how many items are there in a list. So already it is known, and the loop will go on and go on for that particular time. Suppose one string containing 5 elements. Okay. So obviously the for loop will run for 5 times. It is for sure. But the difference is, difference with while loop is, suppose you don't know how many times the loop should run, then you cannot use for loop, isn't it? Suppose I am giving you a file, and then that file, number of lines are printed already, and now you need to count how many lines are there. So how do you know that if you are not counting all these lines? So you cannot use for loop for that purpose. But you can check it another way, that if there is no more line, so that condition you can check using while loop. Until and unless there will be a blank line, that loop will go on, and that kind of thing you can arrange in using the while loop. Okay. When you don't know previously that how long we need to move, Is it clear? What is the purpose? Do you understand what I am trying to point out, that what is the difference between use of for loop and while loop?
Yes, sir.
Oh. So then we are moving to the next thing, that is some control statements are also required to control this kind of loop, because see, sometimes when you are riding some car, you are going and going and going to the road, but sometimes you need to break that. Okay, so for some purpose, and again you need to continue your car. Okay, so that kind of things are also going on in coding. Sometimes you need to break your code, sometimes you need to run your code again and again. So these are basically used when you are writing some long code, large code. Sometimes to build up some logical control statements, you need to use break, continue, and pass statements. Okay. And obviously these are only possible when you are checking something. When you are checking something, it is not like that you are manually breaking something, okay, or manually you are putting some inside some loop continuous statement. That is not possible. These are always coming with some checking condition. Okay, so here so break, what is the function of break? It breaks out of the current closest enclosing loop, and continue similarly that it goes to the top of the closest enclosing loop, and pass does nothing at all. So first we will see what is the purpose of break. Now break and continue statement can appear anywhere inside the loop's body, but we will usually put them further nested in conjunction with an if statement to perform an action based on some condition. So that's why I explained earlier that suppose you are writing this code where x equal to 0 while x less than 5, print x is currently x. So same very example we are taking, and then we are increasing the counter value x equal to plus 1, and then we are writing if x equal to 3. So this is a conditional statement. We have done this earlier, that how to check something, right? If x equal to 3, it is a conditional checking operator, not single equal sign. Single equals means assignment, and double equals means it is checking, it is comparing. So if it is true, then it will print x equal to 3. Then within that if statement, it is printed continue. Okay, and we can use else statement with the if statement. So after that if block, it is printed else, and from that block it is printing continue. Okay, so this is the use of continue statement. This is the example where you can see the function of continue statement in the while loop in conjunction with if statement, and all these things are included inside the while loop. If you by mistake miss this indentation, so that will not run. Okay, so you need to be very careful. You need to maintain this indentation to run this kind of code. So if you run this, what will happen? Let's check first, then we'll explain again. So what it will do, similarly from the earlier example, what it will do. X is less than 5. Yes, 0 is less than 5, so it is printing x is currently 0. X is still less than 10, adding 1 to x from the next line. Then it is increasing the value. of x. So now it is 2 or 1, sorry, 0 plus 1, 1. So now it is printing x is currently 1 and this is printing. And now when x equal to 3, now next what will happen? 1 plus 2, that is 3. Now what will happen? It is taking that if x now is equal to 3, then it will print this, otherwise it will continue and it will print from else continue. So every time it is printing continuing. You can see that. Yes. So from here it is printing this, and from here it is printing this, and after that it is checking whether the x is 3 or not. But it is not equal to 3, so it is printing from this else statement. Continue. Okay. Then it is increasing one value. Now it is 1. Again the same condition will be checked, 1, and this line in this is continuing. Now when it will move to 2, so 2 plus 1, it is 3, and it is checking that whether 3 is equal to 3, right? So it is true, 3 is equal to 3. So next time it is printing that x equal to 3, right? Okay, and then it is continuing and it is printing that x is currently 3, and similarly it is going on and going on till 4, because if it is 5, so it will not satisfying the condition and it will follow up from them. Okay.
স্যার ঠিক
Yes.
বুঝতে পারছি না, আরেকবার বলবেন?
Now I am showing the use of continuous statement. Okay, continuous statement. What is the purpose of using this continuous statement in the while loop? Suppose you are checking that you are trying to print all these things, all these numbers, when those numbers are less than 5. All right. Now inside that checking, again you are checking another thing, that when x value is 3, then it will print this statement, x equal to 3. Okay, and then it will continue again, else it will print continue. Now if you logically think that what will happen from the first line, it is checking that 0 is less than 5, because it is taken the value 0, x is first taking the value 0, so 0 is less than 5. It is true, so it will print this, and it will print this also. Then it will increase the value of x by 1, so 0 plus 1, now x value is 1, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now it is checking whether this x value is 3 or not. Obviously not. 1 is not equal to 3, so it will not print this statement. It will continue. It will print from this else statement. So that's why it is printing continuing. Okay, but remember, now what is the value of x? X is now 0 plus 1, 1, right? So for the next iteration, this x value will be 1. And now again you check whether this is true. Yes, true. So it will print x is currently 1. Then it will print the next line, and again it will increase one value. That means x equal to 1 plus 1, 2. Now it is checking if x equal to 3. That means 2 equal to 3. It is not true, so it will not print this, but it will continue. It will continue to else statement and it will print continue. Okay, so this line. Now what is the value of x now? 2. So 2 will be checked here, and it is print this statement. Next it will print this statement also. Now what will happen? 2 plus 1, 3. Now x is increased by one value and now x is 3. And you can see that now when the checking is done, x equal to 3, it is true and it is printing the statement x equal to 3. Got it?
Yes, sir.
And that's why it is not entering to the else statement. Okay. So that's why it is not entering to the else statement, and you don't see the continuing statement over here. It is directly
Yes,
going
sir.
back to the loop again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if we could also do that. Suppose we just don't want to stop or highlight the x equals 3 statement, so we can just remove if statement and again
Yes.
add
That is
continue.
yes, that is up to you.
Okay.
You can no. What you are trying to do, you just want to use without the if statement. So that means you are trying to do this thing. You want this or anything else?
Yes, sir. I just want to. Yeah. That was my question.
But just previously I told you that every time try to use the if, use the continue, break or pass, using continue and break basically with some conditional statement checking. Okay, if you do this, what it will do? You are not checking anything. You just try to use continue statement this way. So what will do? You can check that else is invalid. You need to make it outside the loop, because see while loop, now you are using else with the while loop, not with else if condition, right? So you need to make it outside the while loop. Okay. And if you do this, only this thing will happen. Nothing you are checking, nothing. Only you are continuing this thing. So every time
Yes, sir.
at the end of this thing, it is printing continue, but you are not checking anything. Everything is printing as it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and at last it is printing continue. So it is of no use actually.
Yes, sir. I got it. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so this is the thing. Yeah. So this is when it is required. That thing you need to understand that these are only for example. Okay, for logic building, nothing else. You can put this if statement, or you can check this value with other value also, no problem. So then what will happen? You can check that if you are checking that whether x is equal to 4, so you will see that x is is printing 3 and then continuing, and after 4 what will happen? So 4 is printed, then it is printing again that x is currently 4. Okay, so that is up to you, means when it is required, nothing. Okay. Now let's see what will happen if we are taking the same example. We are taking the same example, but okay, it is 10. So no problem. I'm converting it to 5 because earlier it was 5, right? Yes, 5. So 5. Now instead of continue, we are using break. Okay. So what will happen? And after else statements also we are using continue again. First we check if we are using only break. So then what will happen? You can see the effect of using break here. Okay. So 0, this statement, and then it is checking that whether x equal to 3 or not. So after increasing one value, that means x is 1 now, and x1 is not equal to 3. So it is printing from else statement continuing. So continuing is printed. Now x is currently 1 is printed, and next when x is currently 2, then after increasing the value 1 by 1, so now it is 3, and 3 is checked whether it is equal to 3. Yes, it is 3, so it will break. So after printing this statement, this loop is breaking. So nothing will be calculating after that break statement. Okay. So that's why nothing is happening after this statement. All right. So now if you are using continue after else statement, so let's check what will happen. So no use of continue statement over here because it doesn't do anything at the end. Okay. Because automatically it is break, so continue statement will not be functioning. So these are the use of continue and break. And okay, so one question: while you are writing some code using while loop, suppose you write this line, while true, print this. Now this code will not end. Okay, because it is always be true, and this line will be printed. If I run this, don't do it. If I run this, now you can see that this is running, right? This is running. And how you can check that? The star is there. So if some code is stopped, so this star symbol will be vanished, but here this star symbol is going on. So to stop this, you can manually, if you are using any PyCharm or any IDLE environment, so you can manually break it from the computer keyboard, Control+C, and here you can use this interrupt the kernel button to do it. So now you can see that it is stopped. Okay. So if you find that your while loop is running and running, so you just click on this button. Okay. And you can clear the output again. So we are coming back to it. Okay. So the next there is a comparison between the for loop and while loop, break and continue. So both are doing the same function. If you are using for loop, and then if you are checking some condition and you are using some continue statement, so from here the code will loop back to the conditional to the for loop again, and it will check the condition again. So this is the continue statement function with the for loop. So similarly, while loop, when you are using while loop, the same thing happens. After performing some conditional checking, if you use continue statement, so that means you are again instructing the code to go back to the while loop. Okay. And if you are using break instead of a continue statement, so you are instructing the code to go outside from the loop. Okay. So that is the difference between continue and break statement. All right. So there are different problems are also given. So you can check what will be happening if you are running this. Okay. This is a test case. Suppose you want to print only PYT using the break statement. So you can do it in this way, that for letter in Python, if letter equal to, you are checking that whether it is a capital P or not. If it is true, it is printing. Elif the letter is small y, print the letter. Elif, if the letter is T, we are printing this letter. Else break. So if you run this, you will get only this thing. Okay. PYT. And if you are not breaking, you are printing something else. So print something. So every time it will print something, something, something. How many times the for loop will go on? Okay. So 3 times it is checking PYT, and next 3 times it will print something from the else loop, because all these things are under the for loop. Okay. So to avoid that situation, you need to use break. So only PYT will be printed. Okay. Here is another example. You are checking that when the letter is H, so then break. So these are very useful when you are comparing some sequences for protein sequences or for DNA sequences. Suppose in a longer DNA sequence, you are trying to identify some small sequence, and then it will break. Okay. So in this kind of situation, you can use break statement after comparing some. If you run this, what you will find, so it is printing current letter P, then again it will go back to the for loop and it will print Y, it will print T, but after that it will check that letter is H or not. It is true, so it will break. It will not return to the for loop again, but this print statement is outside the for loop, and that's why it is printed over here. Okay. So this is the use. And on the other hand, if you use this continue statement instead of break, so what you will get? Can anyone tell me? If you use just instead of break, you are using continue, then what will happen?
So the iteration will go on, means it will not go to print statement to go again to the if statement.
Is it so? So you are saying that capital P, Y, T will not be printed. Are you saying so? Or what will be the output?
So PYTON, then it is outside that loop.
Right. So that means it will do nothing when it will be found H. When the letter is H, so it is instructing that continue. Okay. So it will omit that step. So that's why this printing PYT. So as the letter is H now, it is not printing this statement, but it will continue. So that is the use of continue. So it will not go beyond that line, go beyond that statement, but it will move back to the for loop. So just you can see that if the condition is true, so it is instructing that go back to the for loop. Don't go beyond that line. Okay, and that's why here you can see that it is not printing the letter H, but it is go back and it is checking again that when it is not H, so it is printing O and it is printing N, and this line will be printed from the outside. So that is the example of continue and break. Is it okay?
Sir,
Yes.
please, can you use another example?
For
Please.
what?
Like for letter in Python.
Okay. Suppose you are trying to check that whether it is a T, right? So you are checking that your letter is T or not. So what it will print? So it will print Ty, and if the letter is T now, so it will continue. It will not print T, but it will go back to for loop and it will check the next letter, that H. So it will print H O N. If you run this, you will get this T Y H O N. So that means when it is equal to that letter, so it will go back to the for loop again. Okay. Okay. So let's take this example first. If you run this, what will happen? If you run this, so it will take one letter at a time and it will print that letter P Y T H O N. No problem. Now you are checking that if the letter is T, so then print the current letter. You can check that. So what will happen? So current letter T, and it is outside the for loop. So it is printing from the if conditional statement. Now it is not your aim. Your aim is that if it is T, so then it will go back to for loop and it will print the other letter also. So in that case, you cannot use if only. You need to use continue statement, and this print statement you need to put here. Otherwise what you will get? The same thing, nothing. But if you print here after the conditional checking and addition of continue statement, so then from this print, it is printing the letters, but when it is equal to T, so that is not printed. Okay. And another thing left, that is pass statement, and this is actually a null operation, which is doing nothing. Say for example, using the same very example, if you are taking, so you are checking that whether it is H, then you print that letter, or pass, and then print this is a pass block, print current letter, print goodbye. So if you are doing this, if you run, you are getting all these things. Only so here this statement was not here. So pyt, then this is a pass block, this is a pass block, then current letter HOH, HON, all these things are printing PYTHON. Okay, so actually pass is doing nothing. So then you can ask me, then why you are using pass if it is not doing anything, isn't it? So basically it is not doing anything. But sometime in programming, you need to check some code whether it is running or not before writing all the long code. So for example, you are just trying that you want to print this word. Okay, you want to print this word, but for val in values, then you are using pass statement. So what it will print? It will print nothing because you have not used any print statement. You have used just pass. If you run this, it will run. It is not showing any error, but it is not doing anything. So that is the purpose. Sometimes you need to check some code whether it will run or not, and for that purpose you can use pass statement in this way. Okay. All right. So for today, this much is fine. So while loop and continue, break, and pass statement. Okay. So when is your exam? Next exam is on 30th. So this thing will not be included, but for loop will be there. For loop will be there. So try to prepare well so that you can answer the question. All right. Do you have any questions?